Hi there, it's Linda here. Thanks for joining me today as I play with the Marble Turnabout from Concord and 9th in this collab with Therese. Therese and I have been trying to get organised with a collaboration for probably years actually, and finally we've got ourselves organised. So just showing you here how you need to line everything up and lay down the Marble Turnabout. You can buy a jig. I've just made one out of the orange cardstock there and I've contacted it. A lovely lady on YouTube suggested contacting it so that you can wipe it clean and use it again and again, and I've done that and it's been great. So these are the colours I've chosen, just looking at my swatches there and choosing my first 4 colours for my first card today. So I love aqua, teal, turquoise. They are my favourite colours in the whole wide world. So I knew I wanted to choose some of those colours for my turnabout, and I'm a big pink fan too, and I love the way the pinks and the aquas go together, so that's my first colour combo today. So you saw me there turning the jig, the orange jig. It's got numbers at the top, and if you buy one it also is numbered and it has little marks on it to show where to place either a portrait or landscape oriented piece of cardstock. So I am going fairly quickly through this today because there are 3 cards, so I don't want it to take forever for you. So I have sped things up. I do stamp twice each time just to get a good colour or a good thickness of colour. And you'll see these beautiful colours that I'm using today. 2 are from Altenew and 2 are from Catherine Pooler. And I'll have all the colours and all the materials listed below on my blog post and on my YouTube. So also using the MFT Happy Birthday blend stamp on this card today with that little happy that pops up, which is another MFT die from a couple of years ago. So just working out how much room I need on my card. So this is now my card front, and I'm going to use 2 colours that will go very nicely, or they're colours that I used in the Marble Turnabout stamping, and I'm just making them nice and dark so that they will really stand out in the centre of the turnabout section that I'm going to cut away. So using the 2 colours that I've chosen, and I just had to make sure that this would line up nicely on my card front, and you saw me doing that before, just lining up the birthday blend stamp just to make sure I was giving myself enough room. And now I need to cut out a little window from the marble stamped piece so that you'll see the birthday recessed behind it. So using my T-square ruler, lining up where the window, how long it needs to be, and then I do some measuring with my wooden ruler, and I actually mark on the ruler. Here you see me making a little mark, and then I go to that mark on the marble piece and I rule a line at that point. Then I've got a little rectangle all ruled up that I can use in my Fiskars paper trimmer, and I can line my guide wire up and I can cut exactly along those lines. So for me, that's the easiest way I find. So I actually draw in the line. You could just line up that little mark that you've made there with your pencil. You could just line that up with your guide wire as well. That would be absolutely fine. So just lying it then beside and going, yeah, oh, that should be okay. Grabbing my trimmer, and the little part on the cut, or the blade, the orange blade there, the little handle part is where your cutting will start. That's exactly where your blade is. So you just line that up exactly where you want it to start and run it through to the finish. And out pops your little rectangle. Now it should have been a little bit longer. I should have cut a little bit more on the right where the Y is, but it works out fine. This is in hindsight, of course. I noticed that it was a little bit covered up on the Y there, but it's not a big issue. It still turns out really nicely. So cutting out the little pop-up happy now, which is another MFT die. And then I'm going to use some foam, craft foam, to back this piece and give it some dimension on top of the stamped card front. So just measuring up my pink craft foam, always picking a colour that will go nicely with your card. Now Therese and I have known each other for a number of years now, and it's a lovely friendship that I'm very grateful for. We don't live very far apart now. We used to live about half an hour apart, and now we're only about 15 minutes away from each other, which is really great. We met years ago, and it could have been 10 years. I really am not exactly sure of how many years ago it was now, but Dawn McVeigh from Paper Tray Inc., she was coming to Australia on a holiday, and she suggested meeting up with some crafters at Surfers Paradise here on the Gold Coast. And I thought that'd be great, go along, meet Dawn and meet some other crafters, so I did. And who should I meet but Therese, and we sat next to each other that day and of course talked everything crafty and magazines and blogs, and I remember encouraging her to submit to the magazines, which she hadn't yet, and how wonderful that she did, of course, because she's just been an amazing card maker in our Australian industry, and I love her cards and love her as well. She's a great girl, and I'm very grateful for our crafty friendship. So here you can see my happy birthday card all finished there with the little popping up happy. And now I'm on to the second and third cards that I create today with the Marble Turnabout. Just showing you the colours. I did some little test runs with these colours just to make sure I liked the way they looked together. And I've got the Friendly Fox from MFT in my mind as I'm creating this background, because I'm going to make a little Friendly Fox gift card. I've seen Laura Basson make them, and I love this little Friendly Fox. If you know me, you've watched any of my videos over the last few weeks, you will have seen me make an interactive Action Wobble Friendly Fox card. You will have seen me make a number of bookmark Friendly Foxes that will be fabulous for the kids at school, and I just love the little Friendly Fox. So I thought it would make a nice little ready orange background that I could then cut all his pieces from, and I thought he'd look really cute in a little marbled pattern paper. So the first layer is this gorgeous Nouveau embossing powder, which I absolutely love, in Copper Blush. I'm going through it like nobody's business, so I might have to buy myself another bottle. It just, it melts so beautifully. It never disappoints, this one. So that's my first layer there. And then I'll be using a couple of Catherine Pooler inks and a Brilliance Rocket Red Gold ink as well. So going pretty quickly through all of this. You certainly do not need to watch me slowly inking up and stamping every layer, but I do stamp quite firmly because there's a lot of little pieces to this Marble Turnabout, and you do want to make sure you get pressure on all of them. So working my way through my 4 colours, turning my jig each time, checking the numbers at the top to make sure I turn it in between each ink colour. And your chamois will be very handy if you're ever doing any work with a turnabout, because you really do need to clean off very well in between. Now here's my little gift card. Just cut it out of a folded piece with my Gemini Junior, because I was going through the 2 layers there, so that cut nicely, and I've got my little base that I will then stick my Friendly Fox onto. Now cutting out all the Friendly Fox pieces from my marbled patterned paper, and I'm just going to keep that bit and make it into a 3rd card today, the little marbled bit that's left. I certainly couldn't throw it away, it's so beautiful. I want to make use of all those little bits. So adding his little arms here before you attach his face, cutting all those bits out of white, and then using my liquid adhesive, attaching all those little pieces. I've gone with brown for his nose, mouth and eyes today, and just using my little crystal katana to attach those little bits, and one of these new little blending brushes to add some sponge sugar for his little cheeks, and I add sponge sugar in the little fluffy pinks of his ears as well. And these little brushes, little tiny ones like this, are great to get into these little areas and just add a small amount of colour at a time. So I've really appreciated being able to grab a couple of those. Mine are not the picket fence ones, they're just some cheapies from Amazon. Makeup brushes in fact, and they're working well. Adding all the details, sticking his tail on, and then I can flip him over, add some more glue and stick him to the folded gift card. And I'll add a little stamped detail on the front and inside, and my little friendly fox is finished. And with the remaining bit of marbled pattern paper, I have one more card in mind. So I'm going to heat emboss this beautiful Celebrate sentiment from MFT with the same gorgeous Nouveau copper blush embossing powder, put it into my little heat embossing tray, which is just covered in alfoil, that's what we call it in Australia, and so it can get nice and hot and there's no problems, and things do emboss very quickly when you use that, I can tell you. Just adding some tape to the base of my card where I'm going to stick the little bit of leftover marble, cut off the excess, and then I'll be able to add the sentiment and that little flag die cut that you see at the top for a nice clean and simple card to finish things off today. Thank you so much for joining Therese and I today. It's been fabulous being able to do this collab with her, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again soon.